everybody. Good evening. Hello. Hello. Do you know why you're here? I hope so. Or your parents signed you up and then you're like, why am I here? Okay, today we are going through oral and this is the final sprint. Okay, so as I was asking in the chat, have y'all finished your prelim oral? If you have, what came out? How did you do? How did you feel? Share it with us, okay, in the chat. I'm just looking at it. Oh. Okay, just as long as you're not spamming, just share with us what came out. How do you do? How do you feel? Let us get a sense of where you're at today, okay? Some of you are asking, what materials do I need today? Today you don't need any materials. You just look at the screen and you should have, okay, if you have a notebook or a piece of paper, stationery with you so that you can take down notes or participate behind your screen. Okay? So there are no printed notes or anything. Just look at the screen today. Okay. Okay. So I'm Teacher Mavis, okay, Head of English and Mind Stretcher. Later on, Teacher Moses will be joining us. Okay, so let me get started first. Let me share my screen and then you let me know if you can see my screen, okay? If you can see my screen, just give me a thumbs up. Can you see my screen? Okay, you give me a raised hand. Okay. So this is what we are doing today, the oral final sprint for PSLE English. But before we begin, I'd like to just share with you what we are doing today. Okay, I'm still looking at chat. If you have a question about oral and something like that, at any point during today's session, you can just type in your question under Q&A. If you're responding to my question or teacher Moses's question, you can just type it in chat. Okay, teacher Moses is here. Say hi to him, everybody. Okay. So before we begin, so Moses, I was just asking them, because some of them they finished their prelim. So they're sharing with us how they're doing, what topic came out. Okay. So what are we doing today? There are a few things. Today's just 2 hours. We are going to zoom in on the most important things, okay? So firstly, reminders on what to look out for reading aloud in SBC. Two live SBC practices just to give you a final refresh on what we are looking for, what examiners are looking for when they are listening to your response. And then we'll be looking at how you can use Cher AI to get high quality feedback for SBC and reading aloud. And lastly, of course, you can ask us anything. But you can ask us anything anytime, okay? You don't have to wait until the last 15 minutes. Before we start, I'd like to poll. Can we pull out our poll so that Teacher Moses and I know you better, okay? I know our audience here better today. So let's pull up the poll. And all of you help us fill in the poll. Okay, yeah, the Cher AI logo is so cute. That's true.
You
Okay,
know,
what's the poll? What's the
for people who
question?
like the
Yes.
Chai logo, I'm actually getting a few t-shirts printed. We will give them out for people who win some of our challenges. Okay. Anyway, Miss Mavis, please take away the poll. Please take it away with the
Yes.
poll.
Yeah, where's the poll? I don't see it. Let me see. Uh okay, I'll just launch them. Okay. Firstly, I've just launched the first one. Can you please tell us who are you? Are you a student today, or are you with your parent, or are you a parent? Just let us know, okay? So we did encourage parents to join us this evening. Okay, just listen in. If you're having a dinner, you can also listen while we eat. It's okay. Okay, so we get a sense. Get a sense. Okay, so mostly students, you're here, so I assume you're here alone on your own. Like I said, have a piece of paper or your notebook or pen or pencil with you, okay? All right. Then let's move on to the next question. Next question. Oh, it has been launched. Okay. Oh, there is a typo. What is hard about doing SBC? What is hard about doing SBC for you? Share with us, okay? Share with us what's still challenging for you at this point, 3 weeks before your PSLE oral. What is still difficult for you? tell us. I cannot see the poll results. Let me. Hmm. Do you all see the question? Is it launched?
I see the who's in the room tonight, Mavis.
Okay, what about the question two? Do you see it?
Um, not
Roy,
yet.
could you help me? Could you help me so that we are not like multiple people trying to control it? Okay,
Yeah,
let
I'm
me.
checking on it as well.
Okay, I've ended the first poll, so now let's just. So that's what I'll do. Okay, the second question, there's a typo there. What is hard about doing SVC at this point? Okay, just tell us. Tell us. Mm, you can start by your answers are short. You freeze. Question three is question three. You didn't expect. Okay, then today we're going to tell you what you need to prepare. Okay, so that you can reduce the risk of that, so that you know and you can expect more. Okay, think of okay, another maybe 5 seconds. I freeze. Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna just share results with everybody, okay, so that you can see. Most people say you freeze when an unexpected question comes. So for us to get shocked or surprised less, okay, lower the chances of being shocked or surprised, we just need to be better prepared. So later on we'll tell you more. Okay. The third poll question, let me launch it. Okay. This is very important for us tonight. And let us know, have you used Cher AI for oral practice yet? Not just for oral, right? For composition and listening as well. Have you logged in? Have you created your account? Okay, we have quite a number of you have not heard of it. So we can share more info later, okay? Oh, Moses, do you want to say anything at this point?
No,
Mm.
parents as well as students,
Mm.
thanks so much for joining us tonight. Look, nothing to be stressed about, okay?
Mm.
At the end of the day, yes, PSLE Oral is coming. It's in 2 weeks' time. At MindStretcher, we are always about sharing with you a simple system you can use. Okay, so if you have previously felt that you can do better at things like stimulus-based conversation, then today we'll be doing just a light refresher on the systems that we have been sharing with you at MindStretcher. Okay, but at the end of the day, we need a lot of practice. Okay, so what we did is I personally am working on this platform called Cher AI. Okay, because I hear a lot of you calling your teachers that you like Cher, so we managed to get the domain name, and we built this where actually you can practice stimulus-based conversation online. Um, for example, when we know that a lot of the students, actually, you guys sometimes may not be so familiar with the topic. Yeah, there are some topics that you're super familiar with, right? Like uh, if they will ask you about playing handphone games. Quite a few of you have an opinion. Okay, maybe you don't play handphone games and you have a strong opinion against it. Maybe you do love playing it and you love to explain to the examiner why it's the best thing in the world. But you have a point of view. Okay, but we know that for many of you, actually, it is not that you're not a good speaker. It's just that for this topic, it's not something that you have thought of before. Okay, so on Cher AI, we not only will let you practice your answer, but we will also then help you to expand the answer, make it a good a good full marks answer, and we'll also share with you some additional pointers, some additional points of view, so that if you for those of you who have been trying it already, actually I see that we have almost 6,000 tries for stimulus-based conversations. So there have been people who have been using it a lot. But if you haven't tried it already, actually, if you do 1 or 2 exercises a day, you will get plenty of exposure by the time PSLE Oral comes. So don't worry at all, okay? What we'll do today, Mavis has taught thousands of students, so you're in very, very good hands. We will go through two live SBC practices because I think for reading aloud, based on what I can see in AI, most of you don't have serious problems. Some of you were asking me, is reading aloud practice in AI stricter than in school? Definitely yes. We are trying to highlight to you guys where are the points of improvement. So we will be quite critical about things like expressiveness. If you use your voice all over the place, you make it overly dramatic when it's not necessary. All those are things that we will point out. If you speak too fast, we will also catch it. But by and large, we are stricter than what you usually do in school. So just take the score as a direction, but look at the feedback and improve. Okay, but by and large, I think reading aloud, most of you, is not what you are nervous about. Uh, and for me, when we go into exams, we must be confident. Okay, so if we want to build confidence, I think stimulus-based conversation is where a lot of people want additional practice. So that's what we're focused on today. Of course, if you have questions about the rest of the components, feel free to type in the chat. I'll be here with Mavis. Okay, but today we'll focus on stimulus-based conversation. And yes, some people are asking, do we need to pay for it? If you are, yes, so Roy has sent it to people. Um, but if you are a MindStretcher student, I have actually built it and made it free for all MindStretcher students. Uh, for this PSLE, I think next year we'll probably charge a bit, but please use it as much as possible. And so far I've seen almost 150,000 uh, minutes of practice on the platform already. Okay. If for those of you who are not MindStretcher students, I see about 30 or 40 of you. It's okay. I've made it available for the monthly charge of about $25, and it's unlimited practice for everything, not just stimulus-based conversation, but reading aloud, composition, as well as listening compre for now. For those of you who will be staying with us through PSLE, stay tuned. I'm working on a grammar bootcamp so that all the grammar-based components like grammar close, grammar MCQ, as well as synthesis and transformation, let's get full marks together. Okay, I think it's eminently doable, and if you guys are here on a Thursday night, then you have the attitude to do well. Okay, so don't worry, but stay tuned. We're bringing everything that I used to become a President Scholar and everything that Mavis has done to help so many students do well. We're baking those into the platform. That's why it'll be different, it'll be effective. We're focused really on just do the practical stuff, do well, and then we move on with life. Of course, I know a lot of you have many, many other interests. So let's get uh, this exam done well, put your best foot forward, and then academics really not the be all and end all. Okay, so that's the frame of mind. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys talk about tonight, and I'll share at the end the how to do more practices after this session. Okay.
Thank you, Moses. Okay, thank you for answering all our poll questions. So now we know who you are and how familiar you are with some of the things we're going to share with you tonight. Okay? So like Moses mentioned, don't worry. You started yesterday, you're going to start tomorrow, it's fine. Okay? Let's start on the right foot. So first things first, reminders. Okay, so like Moses mentioned, I think reading aloud in general, all of you know some of the very basic things when it comes to expression. You don't want to be monotonous, right? So point five here, decide the mood. Some passages have a dominant mood from start to end, okay? Like you're supposed to be super persuasive and super convincing, and you need to be really energetic from start to end. Some passages are like that for very persuasive text. Some passages are stories, so the mood of the characters change from start to end. So you match your voice and your tone to the changing moods. Okay, so I think as a teacher, whether a student does this or not is super obvious. The first line, I'll hear it already. Okay, so let's make sure that when we start reading, we put in the energy that's required and we emote. So this is super important. Okay, uh, let me go back to number one. Reading the preamble. So all of you should know this already, especially now you're preparing for prelim. The opening line or the instruction line before the passage. Find out who you are, whom you're speaking to, what's the context. Okay, then you adjust your tone to match that. It's very important. Okay, tricky words. I want to emphasize on this. Very important because I've assessed some students for prelim, mind stretcher prelim, right? When it comes to tricky words during your preparation, just say them like 5 times. Okay, say it until it's super smooth. Or tricky phrases like a bit of a tongue twister, maybe say it a few times. Now, sometimes there are words that run across 2 lines. For example, you say full stop longer. So I'm not going to say full stop longer. There is actually no pause. Full stop longer, new paragraph longest. So full stop longer, full stop longer. I need to be really smooth when I have to read a phrase that's been chopped up. Okay? So this is something that you should do when you're preparing. Not word by word, read in phrases. This is something that a lot of students sometimes forget to do when you're really excited, right? Your adrenaline level is really high during the oral exam. You're very excited. And when we're excited, sometimes we speak faster. Okay? So remember, use the punctuation marks as markers for you to just pause and breathe. Paragraphs as well. Okay? For the messages to land. Your pronunciations, not just these. Let me add some more because I do hear this. The T endings, the K endings, the long vowels, your long vowels, your OO sounds like zoom or sheep. Okay, your OO sounds, your E sounds. Let me increase the size of this.
Hi everyone. Just so you know, we will definitely share the slides after this, okay? So, yeah, you can take note of the key things that you want to remember, but don't feel that you need to copy everything down. We will definitely share. Don't worries.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Uh, Number 7. I hope this has been debunked, or this has been debunked so many times. I hope you believe it now. No one is assessing you for eye contact in reading aloud. Please look at the paper and read. Do not memorize anything. It will, no one is no one is assessing you for your memory. No one is assessing you or assessing your memory. Okay? So don't make eye contact for reading aloud. No need. Focus on your voice and accuracy. Okay? All right. So this reading aloud, I think everyone's very familiar with this. And then we move on to SBC. That points here. We'll share the slides with you. But if you want to jot down additional notes, go ahead. When you receive the photo, and I think some students don't do this, again, from assessing many students, when you receive the photo, of course, you see what's happening in the photo and you get a sense of, oh, okay, this is happening. But one thing I want you to do as well is to go and think, what do you think the SBC topic or theme is today? The picture is about lending someone a helping hand or helping someone up, then today's theme or topic is probably about kindness, or lending a helping hand, or being considerate. And can so what if you can infer the theme or topic? If you can do this, it also means that you can expect certain types of questions for prompt 2 and 3 or prompt B and C, correct? So when you take a look, also think about the theme or topic. Okay, if it's about kindness, very likely they're going to ask you, when was the last time you showed kindness to someone or received kindness? Okay, or do you think Singaporeans should be kinder to one another? So you can start preparing in your mind. Okay. The second thing, it's peers. Can we just have a show of hands? I didn't poll this. How many of you don't know what peers is? Just raise your hand, okay? So that teacher Moses and I get a sense. You don't know, never seen this before. Peers, what's that? Okay? All right. Okay. Now, usually, question 1 is always about the photo, point 3. Question 1 is always about the photo. Usually, point 2 is about a personal experience or a recount, something related to you and your life. Okay? The last prompt is usually broader, related to the theme or topic, broader. Beyond yourself and your life, what do you see around you? What do you think about these things that you observe? For example, when we talk about showing consideration, what do you observe? Do you think Singaporeans are very considerate? And maybe you say, I think we can be more considerate. We're not considerate enough. Why do you say so? Okay, because there are times on public transportation when I see people taking up the reserve seats, not giving it up to those who need it more. And I think that is not very gracious, because there are elderly people who are wobbling on the train, there are pregnant ladies who are tired, etc. So you can already predict. And if you can predict and prepare, then a lot of you say you freeze when the examiner asks you something unexpected. Then there won't be so many surprises, okay, if you are more mentally prepared. Number four, prompt one, some students don't talk or use the picture enough. So this is just a guide about 3 specific details related to your answer. Later on, we'll practice, okay? So don't just zoom in on one thing and then move on. Say a few things about a picture which supports your point. Point 5, I know that on AI, if you speak less than 30 seconds, you can't submit, right? You can't submit your response. You have to make an effort to elaborate, use peers, okay? So in general, for every question, every prompt, you speak for about 1.5 to 2 minutes. If you just speak for about 20 seconds, then very likely the examiner will prompt you, okay? So if the examiner has to prompt you, don't worry, just respond to those prompts. If you don't want, I wouldn't say don't want, if you are trying to take more initiative, if you're trying to take more initiative to extend the conversation on your own, then take initiative to do that instead of waiting for many prompts. Okay? So that's that. Look at the examiner mostly. So even for the photograph, right, you can take a look at the photograph, and then when you're talking to the examiner, you can look at the examiner. Okay? Prompts 2 and 3, look at the examiners more. In fact, you shouldn't be looking at the photo anymore because they're not related directly to the photograph. Okay, make eye contact. There are going to be 2 examiners. Every year, students ask us, which examiner should I look at? Well, of course, you look at the examiner who asked you the question first, right? Because you're acknowledging and you are responding. But as you are sharing, like when you're talking to a group of friends, you're just taking time to look at each of them. You don't need to consciously plan who you want to look at. So don't overthink, okay? Just like a conversation, a chat with 2 people. Yep. Okay, let me move on to point 7. I've mentioned it already earlier on. Okay, take initiative. If you are prompted, because some students get a bit worried, they say, but the examiner prompted a lot, I'm very worried. Don't be worried. If they prompt you, you just answer it to the best of your ability. Okay, if they're interested in what you're saying, so they just ask more. Don't worry about that. Okay, and lastly, like I said, don't worry about what you cannot control. Focus on answering the question using all the techniques and preparation you have done before the exam. And just have fun, actually. I think when you have fun, you'll sound happier, more passionate about what you're sharing, your emotions will flow, and that makes for a very authentic conversation. Okay, it's like really enjoyable to listen to as well. Okay? Okay, so somebody say, wait here, please. Wait for what? Okay. So don't worry, I'll share these slides with you. We are going to do 2 SBC practices, and we are going to get some students to volunteer, okay? Let's take a look at the first one. So if this looks familiar to you, it's because either you have practiced it on AI, because it is on AI, or you have our book, okay? So it's which book? This one. This is the black and white cover page. Okay, so if you joined us in June, you would have collected this book with the reading aloud. And we said, go home and practice. So this picture, the 2 stimulus today we're going to look at are from this book, and they're also on AI. Okay, very good. Some of you have practiced. So let's take a look at this photograph. Because some of you are not familiar with peers, some of you are not familiar with mind stretcher, it's okay. So I'm going to take you through this, okay, together. I'm going to ask you some questions, so just type in chat. Now this photograph, so let's say you receive this photograph, right? What are some things that come to mind Okay, what's happening? So over here, we've written down, a mother and her two children doing kitchen chores together. Okay, so that's what this picture is about. Since it's mother and children, the theme would be family, relationships, spending time together. Okay, these are likely themes. So um, family bonding, uh, quality time, okay, um, helping out at home, okay, especially children helping out at home. So some of these ideas should come to mind. Very good, okay? Yes. What else are you paying attention to in this photograph? Just type in the chat, okay? What are you paying attention to in this photograph? Yes, I know they're in the kitchen. Can you talk about responsibility? Yes, helping out at home makes you a responsible member of the family. They're happy, very good. So someone has noticed the expression on the faces. Ooh, my pen. Okay, expression on the faces. Okay, I think I'll type instead. Okay. So expression, they're happy. Some of the keywords, happy, they're smiling. Okay, what else? Else jumps out at you? Let me see. Mm, beaming with joy. Okay, so that's more vivid, right? You can use vivid words in your oral, no problem. The mother seems I wouldn't say she looks calm. I think you mean patient? Patient, kind. Like she's not angry or scolding her children. That's what you mean, right? She's not nagging or upset with them. Yes. Okay. There is teamwork. Why not? Teamwork. Are they all doing the same thing? Are they all like washing dishes together? No, they have their own. They're they're doing different things in the kitchen, right? So there's teamwork. Each doing her own chore, but they're still in the same space cleaning. Yes. So there are details about facial expression, actions, and I often tell my students this as well. When you look at facial expression and actions, can you also infer what they might be thinking, what they might even be saying to each other? Like the mom is probably encouraging the son and saying, "Great job, the table is really clean." You can share that as well. Okay. Let me see. Wow, some students are sharing responsibility, smiling, overjoyed. Maybe they are getting ready for Chinese New Year. Is it like spring cleaning? Maybe. Okay, but generally looks like a very clean house. Okay. So once you have looked at this picture, the next thing is because you don't have the prompts, then how are you going to predict? What do you think are the questions? For those of you who know, I know you know already, but if you don't know the questions, what do you think is the first question going to be? Right? So again, we try to think of some possible questions, then we won't be caught off guard. About the picture, will they ask what do you think is happening? Um, it's possible, but not so likely because that's a very direct question. And I think at PSLE, they don't want you to describe the photo. They want you to look at a photo and share an opinion, right? So instead of telling you, asking you what's happening in the photo, they will ask you a more inferential question. Yes, how do you think they're feeling? How do you think they're feeling? Do you do the same thing at home? Okay, are you like the children in the photograph? So they'll ask you to relate to the photo. Okay, so the question is often you being able to relate to the photo or the people in the photo, okay? Or your opinion. Do you think what the children are doing in this picture is good? Do you think this is good behavior? Do you think this is responsible behavior? Okay, so there are a variety. Yeah. How do you think they're feeling? May or may not come out. We don't know. We just prepare. Okay? All right. So are you ready for the first question based on our practice? Okay. So for those of you who don't know what peers is, on this slide, you'll see what peers is. For the first student volunteer, I won't, I will just put up peers. Okay, later on I'll show you a bit more. The first prompt is this, and you realize it's not what's happening, right? The question is, do you think, and it's a do you think question, do you think doing chores together is a good family activity? This is an opinion question, right? And after you respond to this question, you are going to then use the picture. So before I say more, let's get the student to demonstrate first, okay? And then I'll say more after that. Do you think doing household chores together is a good family activity? Why or why not? So students, you can raise your hand. Roy or Hannah, you could just unmute a student for us. Thank you very much. Point means answer the question. Okay, so let me just type it here. Okay, point basically means answer the question. So do you think it's a good family activity? Yes, it is. No, it's not.
To carry out. Although many may think that it is boring and not fun, and they would much rather spend time on their phones, I think that this is a really good experience. It's a very memorable experience as we can not only not only bond with our families, but we can also nurture the value of responsibility from young. It can actually be quite fun.
Mhm.
Although the children in the photo seem very happy, they are beaming with joy. The mom is looking at her son, and she is very proud of both of her children for being so responsible. On top of that, I think that she is also encouraging her son and daughter not to give up, and that they are doing an amazing job.
Mhm.
It is also It is really fun to do housework with our family members. They are splitting
Mhm.
up the work as it is easier to finish the chores faster and more efficiently. The son is wiping the table. The mom is while the mom is helping her daughter to clean the dishes. When everyone is working in a team, we can finish it faster. Every Saturday morning, my family will do a weekly cleanup. My father will wipe the windows, as it is very dangerous for kids to wipe the windows, while I will vacuum the floor and my sister will wipe the table. It is actually really fun because we will sometimes play some music and talk to each other. This way, we can also talk about our week while being productive.
Mhm.
Last week, my sister was wiping the table when she suddenly spilled all the water on the table. We started
Mhm.
laughing. We started laughing and we started laughing about how she was so silly. Although some people may think that cleaning up is boring, I think that is actually something really fun to do. I look forward to our weekly Saturday cleanups.
Mhm.
In conclusion, doing chores is a good family activity.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Eileen. Okay, everybody, what are your thoughts? Eileen, how do you think you did?
Bad.
How? I'm shocked. Why do you think you're bad? What do you think you didn't do or didn't do well enough?
I felt like I was too shocked to really think about my answer.
No, you didn't come across as shocked or nervous. I think you were thinking as you were speaking, I could tell. But I don't think it was a bad response. I think really hush on yourself. Okay. Do you do the peer? So yes, you did answer the question, right? And I like the sentence you said straight after you did the point. You said, I think this is a great way for a great family activity. You said, although many may think that doing household chores, I think that's a good angle to start expressing what you want to say because you know that many children don't like to do housework. So some of them may think so, but not you. You think it's a great idea. I think that's a great lead in. And you spoke about the benefits of doing household chores together, which is still an explanation of your point, still relevant. And after that, you went into using details in the picture to show why it's a good activity. That's why you focused on the smiling, the beaming, the pride, the encouragement, which are really relevant. Okay? So until then, no issue. I don't see any problem. After that, you spoke about your personal experience, right? Your family also does this every week. You play music, you talk, catch up, which is still aligned to what the photograph is doing. You reflected, you say, I think it's important to my family and me. We have a great time, and I think this is a good family activity. So, in terms of peers, you have covered everything. Yeah. One thing that you might why you say it's bad because you were maybe have in your mind your thoughts are very disorganized. There was a part whereby after you have actually shared enough about the photo, you went back to talk about details, um, like he is wiping the table. But you've actually mentioned it earlier on, weaved in with your explanation already. So don't need to repeat. But it's not a big thing, okay? Don't worry about that. Yeah, so I think you did elaborate your answer. You definitely spoke for about 2 minutes, I believe. Okay, so don't be so harsh on yourself. Have you practiced this on Sure AI?
No.
No, okay, so maybe later on you can try again and see what Sure AI gives you, okay? Moses?
I just wanted to share something, Eileen.
Mm,
Something very, very important, okay,
mm,
is how we talk to ourselves.
mm.
Okay, because I see a lot of folks also in the chat. I mean, this is not just for you, Eileen, it's for all the students here who want to be better. Don't mistake your thirst for wanting to be better for the need to talk about yourself very negatively. Okay, for example, you know Bruce Lee, right? Bruce Lee is a famous martial artist last time. When people asked him what's his secret, he said one thing. It's not his training, it is not his bodybuilding. It is that he'll never ever talk negatively about himself. He will only say positive things to himself. Why? Because his brain cannot tell the difference. Okay, so if you say that, if you really feel that you are bad, I think you're being very harsh on yourself. I think everybody has room to improve. I have certainly repeated myself before when I'm talking in public. Uh, we need to be kind to ourselves, and then, yeah, we acknowledge room to improve, but we are giving our very best all the time. Okay, so you guys in the chat who are saying that, oh, I'm too nervous to look at the examiner. The first thing, of course, we will work on some of these things as we go through the framework here so that we don't blank out. But the first thing is never tell yourself you cannot do it. Okay, if you do tell yourself that, then I'm very certain you cannot do it. Okay, but if you tell yourself, actually, I can, I just want to learn how, then I think we have a good starting point. Okay, so Eileen, don't worry about whatever you felt that you did wrongly. Okay, we can go through the feedback here. With Che AI, there'll be ample practice, and you don't have to be in front of a live audience of, you did this in front of 370 people. Eileen, not in front of one examiner in the exam. So
Mm.
everybody here around Singapore, I think we should give her a big round of applause, even though Eileen can't hear it. Okay, and then let's be very, very positive because it absolutely helps. Okay, and we'll go through more answers later. But I just wanted to share that with a lot of you who are also messaging me in chat.
Thank you, Moses. Thank you. It's super important. Every morning when you wake up, right, you need to go through a mantra of sorts, just positive self-talk. It really helps. Okay. Psychologically, you can even put your name. So for example, if I'm Mavis, I'll say, Mavis, you can do this. Talk to yourself, okay? Clap, clap, clap. Yes, Eileen, everyone's clapping for you. Okay. Now, just now Eileen did a great demonstration on how to use peers. So again, I will share this with you. But these are some sentence stems you can consider or learn and become familiar with to help yourself better organize your thoughts, okay? So for those of you newer to peers, point would be answering the question, yes, I believe, and then speak in a complete sentence. Some students have a habit of just uttering a word like yeah, full stop, YA, full stop. So yes, I believe, say out your sentence. And then you can also use sequencing words like firstly. Okay, I think it's a great activity as shown in the photograph. So firstly, I notice in the photograph that this mother is, okay. Secondly, the boy is. So you can move from left to right or in a clockwise motion. Okay, not every single thing, but about 3 things that help support your point. Okay, and experience this sentence stem, I find it very useful. I can relate to this because, and if you cannot relate to it because maybe you have a helper at home, she is the only person doing household chores, you could also say, I can't really relate to this, and I'm quite embarrassed to say it because I don't help out at home at all. But if you do something maybe similar in school, let's say classroom cleanup, you can just put in a line or two and say, I do know how to clean, and perhaps in the future I'll offer to help my helper. Okay. So I can relate or I can't. This made me realize this is a very useful stem for reflection. A bit like your conclusion in your composition, right? Through this experience, I learned, or from this picture, I realized. Okay, and of course, a summarizing statement just to let the examiner know that this is my last sentence. You can get ready to ask me the next prompt. Okay, so something like that. This is not the only way, but it is one way. Okay, let me see. Okay, no questions. Mm. I think I've been seeing this about being nervous and all that. Yeah, I think it's normal. When you speak to a stranger, you definitely feel some uncertainty. Okay, some uncertainty, you might feel nervous. Everyone experiences it. Everyone. Okay? So, what can you do? I always tell the students this, and I want you to believe it, okay? The teachers want you to do well. No matter what their facial expression is, no matter how strict they may sound, they want you to do well because that's why they're teachers. That's why they're teachers. They want you to do well. They want to give you the marks. So now your role is to just do your best. Okay? Really. They might try to sometimes behave in a strict way, but they really care about you. No matter which school they come from. Okay? So trust that and then try your best. Second question. This is a more personal experience question. Can we get another volunteer? Do you help out with chores at home? Tell me about it. Okay, let me share the one with the stems. Okay, this will be a bit helpful. You don't have to use it, but this is for your reference. Can we unmute a student? Okay, so before we get the next student to speak while we are looking for a student to unmute. Hello, who are you? Let me see. Alicia? Hi, Alicia.
Hi.
Hi, how's your preparation for oral going?
Good.
Good, question mark. What is that? Upward inflection? Okay, good, full stop. Now, when it comes to personal experience questions, how do we prepare it? How do we prepare for personal experience questions? When it comes to such questions, it's basically all your personal life stories, right? All your stories, your experiences. So when you're on Sure AI or whenever a teacher in school gives you some commonly tested themes, go and ask yourself, when it comes to this theme, what are some stories I have? And then just familiarize yourself with telling them to somebody. Okay, just say it out. Yes, there was once, then you talk about chores, or another time when you help somebody until it becomes really, really smooth. Okay? So for today, Alicia, this question, you don't have to follow these steps if you don't want to. These are just for everybody's reference. Alicia, do you help out with chores at home? Tell me about it.
No, I do not help out with chores at home because
Mm,
usually I'm too busy at
mm,
tuition or after school I have remedial programs, and
mm,
usually they are until really late, or either my parents do not trust me to do the chores because there was this one time I tried to do the chores and I messed up my whole kitchen
mm,
because I my mom asked me to mop the floor, but then
mm,
I didn't know what to do, so I just took soap and then I add with water and then I just mop the floor like it's then when my mom came home, then she scolded me because the floor was super slippery and
mm,
then she almost fell down.
mm,
So from that day onwards my mom did not trust me to do the chores, but she assigned me to do like small chores like cleaning up my room and tidying up my study room. But that
mm.
one she trusts me to clean up my room. In conclusion, I think that cleaning up and doing chores is a good thing because it can help your parents relieve stress because when they come home from work, they are very tired. So if you help with chores, then you help to release the stress.
Okay. Thank you, Alicia. Alicia, Moses, you want to share some comments first because there's like airplanes flying over
No worries, no
my
worries.
side.
Yeah, Alicia, I thought very, very well done. Look, okay, so I think the first thing I want to ask you is how many marks, if this was your whole SBC, how many marks would you give yourself out of 25? Yeah, of course the
15,
jet planes are flying because it's National Day soon, guys. Yeah, Alicia, how many marks would you give yourself out of 25?
15
15? Okay, why?
because I don't think I said a lot of stuff and I paused like for a very long time.
Okay, okay. How about everybody in the audience? Out of 25, how much would you give Alicia? You just post. I will see on my screen now, summarize. Yes, everybody who lives near Punggol is hearing airplanes. I get it. Oh, I hear it too. Toa Payoh now. Okay. So, Alicia, a lot of people are giving you closer to like 17, 18. Okay. So, maybe I'll give you my feedback. Okay. The first thing is that you had such good points. Okay, you
Mm,
really, really had such good points. Um, so this is where I want us to focus on a few things. Yes, I agree. Alicia's answer was really good because there are examples. There are actually a lot of almost funny stories. Okay, so let's think about a few things. First, we have peers. Okay, so I know you guys are learning a lot of things. So
mm,
I like to simplify it to just two things. Okay, for content, unless you are super, super strong, let us try to, to focus on peers. Okay, which just means you answer the question clearly, there's the P, then you explain why you said I agree or disagree or yes or no or whatever. Then after that, I try and share a personal anecdote and then a reflection and a summary. Okay, so content, just focus on peers. Okay, delivery. Okay, SBC is about conversation. Okay, so when we deliver, the important thing is that we have to sound like a confident communicator. Does it matter if you are feeling very nervous? No, okay? Do your best to come across as a confident communicator, which means you look at the examiner, you try to speak in at least this kind of voice, right? Not something that you swallow your words and you just you show the examiner that you're very nervous. These impressions all matter. Okay, so try open up your posture, speak in a clear voice, okay, and convey that you're confident. Okay, so Alicia, for me, I think if the teacher does not think about delivery, I think you will probably score about 18 to 19. Okay, because your content was actually very interesting. You said that actually I don't help out with chores at all because I have no time, but then you go on to share that actually I do quite a lot of chores. Uh, so actually your answer is quite interesting. But if they were to take into account your delivery, then I think it might come in closer to 15, 16, where actually you sounded scared to tell your stories. Okay, so if I were to reframe a little bit about what you said, okay, just having listened to you one time, and this is the beauty of Chai Ai, by the way. After you do one time, you get your thoughts out onto the paper. Now you practice saying what you actually think. And if I may try, here's what I would do with your points. Do you help out with chores at home? Tell me about it. Yes, in fact, I do. I help out with mopping the floor and I tidy the study as well as I tidy my room. Actually, there's a funny story about this where one time when I was mopping the floor, I made a huge mistake, right? I was trying my best to help out my mom, but I didn't realize that after you mop the floor, you should use water to clean off the soap. So instead, I had soapy water all over the floor. And when my mom came home, instead of being happy with me helping out around the house, she was furious. It was a funny incident because in trying to help, I ended up making a mistake. But that's when I realized that if I don't try, I will never learn. And yes, for chores, I'm not so familiar with them. But if I want to help my parents out, then I need to be more familiar. So that's when I realized that I got to try again. I took my mom's feedback in, and now she trusts me to mop the floor. Apart from the floor, I also take care of my personal spaces. I think that that's just important personal responsibility. And if we can take care of our own spaces and take care of the common spaces at home, I think that we can all contribute more to our house and take care of our family. Okay, so actually, when I listen to your answers, so many, wow, almost there. If we just flesh out the story and actually be a bit more confident, you have so much content to share, so many stories to share. And that's something that I wanted to tell all of you as well. When you say that you don't know um, what to say, and some of you said, is it okay if I repeat the stories through the three questions that are asked? My frank answer is that it will be best not to repeat the stories, but instead you should get used to the idea that your life is full of stories. I bet if I ask Alicia a little bit more, I'll find out that she helps out with a lot of random things at home. She just has a very high bar for what she considers a chore. Okay? So it's hard to unpack all of this within 1 hour, but with Choi I, you can keep practicing. Okay? So Alicia, that is my feedback for you. I would say that actually, if you think about it, you do help out with chores,
Yeah.
right? So it's actually that's actually a much easier answer compared to telling them that actually I don't really help out, but actually I help out. Okay, so if you think about it, actually you do help out with chores, and I would say the delivery part, uh, let's get into the habit of speaking with a bit more energy.
Mm,
Okay.
mm. Thank you, Moses. Thank you. Yeah. I agree with everything Moses said, okay? Because there were points when she talked about slippery from like, oh, it's getting exciting, and then she moved on. So I'm like, oh, I want more of the exciting things, the humor, the
You
emotions.
did
Yeah.
notice, Alicia, that both me and Teacher Mavis, we both started to smile when you talk about the slippery fall because there's genuinely a funny story, you know? So there's a lot of potential. I cannot stress to you guys how much, right? There was this boy that I was tutoring one time, and his favorite answer to me when I asked him questions, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, right? But when I tease out, actually he has so many stories. So uh what we need to practice is we just need to unplug our mouths. Okay, we need to get into a habit of talking and then reflecting about what we have done in our lives. Then it makes conversations much easier. Okay.
You. Okay, so now we're down to the next question. Earlier on, we had picture question, we had the personal experience recount question. Now this one, it's broader, right? Beyond yourself. Very likely they'll ask you questions about what you observe around you, what's your opinion about the environment or the people's behavior around you. So like this question, some people say children today do not do enough chores. Do you agree? It's an opinion question. You can go either way, okay? As long as you have reasons and examples to back you up. So let's have a volunteer, okay? Do not do enough. I'm not saying do not do. Do not do enough. That means you do a little bit, just a little bit, but not enough. Okay? You don't do a lot. Let's see. Oh, do we have a volunteer? Let me see. You can unmute somebody. You can raise your hand and then my colleague would unmute you, okay? Can we unmute hmm? Some people say you don't agree. You want to try, you just raise your hand. Let me see. Araf. Is it Araf? Oh no. Araf wants to try Cher AI. Uh ZZX. Can we unmute? Is there no Clara? Okay, we have a Clara. Clara, hi. Clara?
Mavis, maybe the next one we choose a guy. We have been choosing.
Yeah. Why are
Where are my guys? Guys,
right?
come
Me
on.
too.
Where are the boys at? Come on, guys.
Where
Okay,
are the
next one I
boys?
practice too. It'll be boys club.
Oh, okay. Can we pick another student then? Gerald, is it Gerald? Okay, this is a boy. Gerald. Hi, Gerald.
Hi.
Hi, Gerald. Okay, so you are representing the boys here today for this question. Gerald, how are you preparing for oral? Are you preparing well
Yeah.
every day? Very good. Okay, so for this question, it's an opinion question. Let us hear what you have to say, okay? Some people say children today do not do enough chores. Do you agree?
In my opinion, I think when people say that children do not do enough chores, I fully agree. As
Mhm.
I, me myself, I do not even do a chore at home, cause my parents do not allow me. As I have done, as when they try to let me do chores, I will always mess up. I remember once when I was in P4, my parents asked me to just throw the rubbish, and the rubbish chute was just below our house. I thought it was an easy job until I accidentally broke a hole inside the trash bin, and I did not even notice. When I was walking to the rubbish bin, I noticed a lot of rubbish on the ground. When I looked back, I saw there was a pile of rubbish leading from my house to where I was standing at. I was so embarrassed, and I tried to quickly clear up before my parents could see it. But at that moment, my parents came out of the room, and when they saw the line of rubbish, they screamed at me instantly and shouted, "What happened here?" I was so sad, so I was so fright. I was so It was so funny that I started laughing. My parents asked me to go pick up the trash and put it in another bag. I, from then on, my parents did not allow me to do any chores relating to rubbish, throwing out the rubbish or clearing something up. I didn't think that might just happen again.
Mhm.
All in all, I think children do not do enough chores in today's world, as they are either too busy on their phones or they are just too lazy to help their parents out. Thank you.
So cute. You say thank you at the end. Like my son also says thank you. It's just a public speaking thing. Okay. So thank you, Gerald. Uh, you have a very funny story. Really very funny. We can all relate to what you said. Okay, so it's really relatable. All examiners, we used to be children, right? So we have all these funny stories. And very quickly you capture our attention. You talked about you said you fully agree that children today do not do enough chores. And after that, you went to say, even I don't even do chores. Okay, so what you did was you moved the elaboration or explanation back to yourself, right? And towards the end, you said, I think children these days don't do enough chores because they're too busy on their phones or they are too lazy to do so. So I would recommend, so your story is very interesting, it's relevant, experience is relevant. I would encourage you, if you can, to talk about children. So instead of putting it at the end, maybe you can consider putting it earlier. So I don't think children these days do enough chores. Firstly, children like me doing PSLE or just being very busy with school have no time to do chores. Plus, even if we are not busy with school, we are busy playing games on our phones. And therefore, doing chores would be the last thing on our mind. I also know of children who are extremely lazy and they will not lift a finger to help out at home. For me, and then you move on to talking about yourself. So I think your response generally it's very focused on your personal experience. What you can do to make it better is to talk about children like you or your friends, right? Children around you. What are all of you busy with instead? Okay, then that would make the answer more aligned to what the question is asking for. Okay, do you understand what I'm trying to say, Gerald?
Yeah,
Yeah, so
that's good.
children today, yes. Okay,
Yeah, so
Moses, if you have anything to add, yeah.
yeah. Gerald, so and for everybody who listened to Gerald's answer, okay, so Gerald, I would say that what teacher Mavis is saying is really, really important. Okay. And I will go a bit stronger to say that it's not just a suggestion. Okay. What we don't want is that the teacher believes that you, even though the story is super interesting, and I think you're a great storyteller, by the way, we need to answer the question. Okay. That's why for I told you just two things, right? Content and then delivery. Delivery, be super confident. Content, follow peers. So when the question asks, some people say children today do not do enough chores. Do you agree? Uh, I loved your starting, right? I absolutely agree with this. And we know something funny is coming already because you're so confident. Ah, but surely some people were not just talking about Gerald, who broke your trash bag on the way to the trash can. Okay, so your explanation has to be a broader point. Okay, that some people, in fact, your points, you actually talk about three different points. Okay, you said that they're too busy or they're too absorbed with their handphones, but actually what you were saying in front is that some people say children today do not do enough choice. Do you agree? I absolutely agree. And the reason is that I think sometimes parents need to trust their children more. That's what you're saying, actually. Okay. Is it a controversial point? Yes. Is it an interesting point? I think absolutely. And the moment you say that parents need to trust their children more, then your story becomes fully relevant because you have now made a general point, right? Some people say, I agree, and it's because I think many parents need to trust their children more. For example, when I did this, blah, 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 and I broke the trash, they scolded me. And then after that, I didn't dare to do any chores. But I think it would have been better for my growth if my parents gave me another chance, and I would love to be a contributing member of the family. You know, that actually you have, it's all there. Half a sentence here, half a sentence there to make the point flow clearly. Okay, remember, so Teacher Mavis has told you guys about the 3 kinds of questions. There's some stuff that's more about the picture. Then there's some parts about your general experience. And then, in that case, is do you do chores at home? Tell me about it, right? And then here, question 3 is about your views on society. It usually is like that, your views on society. Okay, so then your answer cannot just be something that is just based on your own experience. That the experience can be the second E, absolutely. That is what makes the answer feel very personal, very colorful. But that first E, for the society view needs to be one that answers the actual question, which is about a broader thing, not just about you. Okay?
Thank you, Moses. Thank you, Gerald. So everybody take note of this, okay? You can just take down notes on your paper and I'll share the slides with you. I'll share the slides with you, so no worries. Okay, so that's our first practice. Now let's move on to the next one. So the first one is on family, right? The second one is theme 8 in the book, okay? Theme 8. So if you're looking for this in AI, it's under theme 8. Does this look familiar? It's a very familiar scene. The photographs that are chosen for PSLE, they are going to be accessible to you, things that you see around you every day, okay, like this one. So when you take a look at this picture, what are some things that come to mind? Of course, you will think or you will see the setting, right? Say, oh, this is a classroom. It's in school, okay? Because he's wearing a school uniform and that woman looks like a teacher and there is a test paper. So there are some things here in this room. Aha! And some of you very quickly notice his posture or his expression, right? So the boy looks sad. The woman, perhaps the teacher, looks, she's smiling. Okay, she's smiling. Why? Is she happy that he did badly? Cannot be. That's not logical. So she's smiling maybe to just assure him, to encourage him, like what we do here, the webinar as well. No problem. Just try again. Okay? And what else? What else do you see? You see an exam script on the table. You can infer that it's probably a very bad score, a score that the boy is really unhappy about. Okay. So when you look at this photo, let's say we blocked out the theme and the title. You just look at this photo. What comes to mind? School, something revolving around school life, right? School experiences, academics, academic studies, preparing for exams, okay? Or being determined, not giving up. These are some things that should come to mind, or failure. But after you fail, if you don't do anything about it, you remain in that state, right? But the moment you just get out of it and you try again, then you have moved on from failure. Okay? So yeah, determination, not giving up. So once again, then you can again predict or anticipate. I wouldn't say predict, anticipate possible questions for prompts 1, 2, and 3, all 3 prompts. So let's get the first student volunteer. Okay, this one, it's not as challenging as the previous one. It is still an inferential question on the feeling one. The feeling one is aligned with the specimen paper. So we get a variety, okay? Who wants to try? Does it mean that if they ask, how do you think the boy is feeling, then we don't talk about the woman? Does it mean that? Okay, so let's see. Demonstration. Zhan Rui or Zhan Rui, is it? Hello? Zhan Rui. We cannot hear you. We cannot hear you. So maybe you can check your mic and then we unmute Edgar. Edgar, hello. You can. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Hi, Edgar. Edgar, have you been
Hello.
preparing? Practicing your oral?
Yes, I've been preparing.
That's very good. Okay. This first prompt, inferential question. Okay, let's see how you are going to attempt this. How do you think the boy in the photograph is feeling?
I think the boy in the photograph is feeling disappointed as he is looking at a test paper, sitting in a bad posture as he looks quite disappointed, while the teacher next to him encourages him. I've been in this situation before, as in P4, I didn't do well in my studies, and I also felt really disappointed in myself. Although some people might not be uh, uh, as well in studies as other people, they might be. It's okay as some people are not as talented as other students in the school. In a nutshell, I feel that the boy is feeling disappointed in the photograph.
Okay, thank you, Edgar. Edgar, how do you think you did?
Uh, Average.
What is average, Edgar? Like
Like
don't mind me saying so like out of 25. Okay, we're not just about the marks here, but we need to know where we are at. So out of 25, how much would you give yourself?
17 or 18.
Okay. Okay, come, Edgar. I want to do something with you guys here. So parents who are on here, let's take a look at how we unpack an answer. Okay. So Edgar, I actually feel that you got a lot of thoughts, but let us take this one step at a time. Okay, so P. Okay, P. What is your point here? How do you think the boy is feeling?
I feel the boy in the photograph is feeling disappointed.
Okay, so do you think you answered the question here?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So one thing we try to, okay, next 5 minutes when you're talking to me, when you feel that you're gonna say you don't say it. Okay, I'll try to do the same. Now for the first E, why do you think he's feeling disappointed?
In the photograph, I feel like
Hey, bro, come, try again.
in the photograph, I see the boy is looking at a test paper in a bad posture as he is looking quite disappointed, and his teacher is comforting him and encouraging him to do better in the photograph.
Okay, we try again. So this is very, very common for the descriptive one where you start to rattle off exactly what you're seeing. Okay, but let's try and tie this to the disappointment. Okay, for example, I can do super well for my exam paper, but I do this, right? But I'm super happy. Okay, so this bad posture has the word bad posture itself doesn't actually say that he's disappointed, right? So I'm asking, why do you think he's disappointed? If you were to zero in, you don't feel like you have to describe the whole photo. What actually is telling you that, because you are completely right, nah? He is disappointed. What is telling you that he is disappointed?
He is looking at a test paper, looking very disappointed, while his teacher at the side is encouraging him.
So he cannot look disappointed because he looks disappointed. Why does he look disappointed?
He is frowning and his eyes are quite narrowed.
Okay, all right. And what do you think has just happened?
I think he did badly for his test.
Okay, very good. You see, so somebody in the chat just now asked what is inferential? Okay, inferential doesn't mean you rattle off everything about the picture. It means to guess what is happening. Okay, so he's disappointed. I see that he actually looks quite sad. He's looking at the test paper. It looks like the teacher is encouraging him, and I think he must have done badly in his exams. That is actually what you're trying to say. Okay, he is disappointed because he has done badly in the exam. Okay, that is the inference, and that's how you can jump out of just describing the photo. You look at everything and you guess what is happening. Okay, so this is the first E. Okay, okay, Edgar, can you try that one more time? Just this P and E.
Because in the photograph he is looking He is frowning and
Sorry, start with the P. So Edgar, how do you think the boy in the photograph is feeling?
I think the boy in the photograph is feeling disappointed because in the photo he is frowning and at his test paper while his teacher encourages him at the side.
And you think that he?
And I think he did badly for his paper.
Okay, let's try that one more time. Now, Edgar, what I want you to focus on, I want you to breathe, you speak more slowly, and you try and speak to me as if you're the king of this exam. Okay? You have nothing to prove, you're just gonna speak to me confidently because you know exactly what points you're gonna make already. Let's try that one more time.
In the photo, I think the boy is feeling disappointed, as in the
Okay,
photo
Edgar,
he
slow
is.
down, slow down, slow down. Try one more time. So you follow my pace, huh? Edgar, it's not Edgar. I think that the boy is feeling disappointed. Okay, this pace, you try.
I think in the photo the boy is feeling disappointed
Okay, and why?
because he is sitting down in his chair, looking at his test paper, looking very disappointed, while his teacher encourages him at the side.
And I guess.
And I guess he did badly for his test.
Okay, so Edgar, this is, and for all the parents watching, this is exactly how we get better. Okay, if any of you just do one shot through a oral exam, okay, and you don't re-practice with what you have now learned and thought of, then you cannot get better. Okay, so Edgar, like props to you for going through this live with me. For all of you at home, if you know, for parents who have a bit of time, this exercise of like, okay, let's try. So you had some interesting points, but hey, you also know and I also know that we didn't say it exactly right just now. So why don't we try one more time, but with a bit more confidence and a bit more clarity. Okay, then you give yourself a chance to reorganize your thoughts and try again. Okay, and for those of you who don't have a lot of time, AI does exactly this for you, which is to take your answer, rejig it so that it flows more smoothly. Okay, then the important thing, really, 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 really important thing, I cannot stress this enough. Don't just go through the AI thing, see the feedback, and then move to a different topic. You should look at it and you should do that same question again with your improved answer. Okay, then you will fly. For the people I've seen, people who switch between questions, they improve slowly. For those who redo the question and keep practicing, whether maybe this time I try the E, oh, I felt my experience, I had such a good story, but just now I just said one line only. But actually, now that I say one line, I realize that I have a whole colorful vision in my head. I want to try again. Do it. Okay, those who have done it, I've seen their marks rise by 5 to 7 already in the same topic. And 5 to 7 makes a huge, huge difference for your ALs. Okay, all right, so that is P and E. Now for E, the second E, Edgar. Just now, the story that you shared, and I'm deep diving into it, not just for Edgar's sake, but for everybody here. Okay, you said that I can relate to this because in P4 I also did badly for my exam and I was disappointed. Edgar, that's the story that you mentioned, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you think you can improve that story? Do you think that that's a full story?
No.
I'll put it differently. If somebody were to say that to you, right? What's your first question to him? Like, let's say I really come up to you and say, hey, Edgar, last time I am P4, I did badly for an exam. What questions would you ask me?
Why did you do bad?
Okay. Or what subject? Okay, so I'm going to ask you, right? So what subject was that?
Math.
Math. Okay. And how many marks did you get?
I got roughly around AL6.
AL6. Okay. And what happened actually?
I wasn't really focused in class and I couldn't answer the questions in the uh,
Hmm.
end of year examination
Okay. Well, some people do that, but they are not disappointed. In fact, they're happy they get AL6. It could have been worse. Why do you feel disappointed?
because I felt like I could do better instead of getting AL6 because I knew I could do better than this because I didn't put in my best effort for the paper.
Okay. Okay. So do you see, I'm trying to tell all of you guys, you have plenty of fantastic stories. You know why, guys? Why I know I'm not making something up? Because you guys have all spent 12 or 11 or 10, depending on how early you're attending this seminar. You guys have spent 12 years on this earth. Okay? And no one has seen all the things that go on in your head that we didn't know that Edgar actually expects more from himself. And I find that very inspirational. So Edgar, when you tell this story, go one level deeper, right?
Okay.
Everything that I just asked you, right? So you say, I think he's disappointed. I think he must have done badly. I think his teacher is trying to encourage him, but he looks really dejected on the seat. And in fact, I had something similar happen to me when I was in primary four. There was this math test, and I got AL6. It was the lowest grade I had gotten in my life for math. And the horrible thing is that I knew I could do better because I'm actually quite decent at math. It's just I wasn't focusing in class. So, I think sometimes bad things happen, but the important thing is how someone bounces back from that. And although I was disappointed, I actually redoubled my efforts and I started focusing a lot more in class. And that helped me to do well subsequently. So, to this boy here, I would say pick yourself up, don't let it get you down. What matters is to keep going. Okay, so for me, when I look at peers, this is how I've practiced. In Choi I will give you these kind of answers based on what you share, help you flesh out the stories. But you have to practice this. You know why I can do this on the spot for literally any question? Because I've prepared for this. I prepared for many interviews in my life where I don't know what they're going to ask me. They may ask me strengths and weaknesses. They might ask me, do you think you're an apple or a pear? And I have now practiced answering all of these things in a clear way, right? You ask me an apple or a pear, or you ask me, would you rather be a car or a cactus? And I will answer you because in my mind, I will definitely tell you, I will answer the question with I'll explain my thing and I'll tell you one experience in my life why I feel I'm a cactus, right? Because even though sometimes I can be thorny outside, but the flesh within is soft and I feel actually very, very warm and cuddly inside. And I'll tell you a whole story about that. Okay, so we need to get into a habit of answering logically and being willing to tell our stories. Okay, so Edgar, I encourage you to follow this peer structure and really flesh it out. Okay, if you're not answering about 1 minute to 1 minute 30, you can safely say that you probably missed out developing one of these elements. Okay?
Thank you, Moses. Now they all want to know whether you're apple or pear.
So, guys, I will derail this if we go into that. I care a lot about your SVC and oral, so we'll talk about that one another day. Okay. In fact, for
Another
those
day,
of
yes.
you who are
Mm.
preparing for
Mm.
interviews, we
Mm.
we we will go through some of these techniques, but it's very similar. Okay, so focus on this. What I'm trying to tell you also is that what you learn here is going to help you throughout your life. This Pierce thing, I use it to this day. When I'm talking to Straits Times reporters, all that, if they ask me a question, I need to be clear. Bam, PERS. Okay. All right. Let's keep going.
Thank you, Moses. Yes. Um, what Moses shared is super important. I did this with my students face to face as well. So she shared an experience, but then there were no details, and I said you share again and again and again, and by the third time, really smooth and really it's the most vivid. So that's my advice to everybody. In Choi, you'll see them categorized by themes, right? Go theme by theme. Okay, because that's where you can consolidate all your relevant experiences and so on. Okay, number two. Let's have a oh, it doesn't matter boy or girl now. We have about is it Megan? Megan? Hi Megan. Hello Megan. Oh, are you able to unmute yourself, Megan? Are they going to minus marks if we say something bad? No, they are not like the moral police or something like no. Don't worry. We are not perfect humans, right? No one is perfect. We have our flaws. There are things we like to do and don't like to do. So no one is going to mark you down for saying that I don't like to do chores. I don't like to do chores too, right? I like to do other things. It's okay. As long as you can support your point with examples, explanations, that's okay. Chloe. Hi, Chloe.
Hello.
Hello, hello. Hello. Okay, Chloe, I believe you have been practicing, right, for oral?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. So now I will just assume that all of you are doing it. Chloe, for this question, it's a recount question. Tell me about the time when you failed at something. How did you deal with it?
One time I failed at something was when I was primary four. When I was primary four, I was really bad at Chinese compo writing. When I wrote a compo, I didn't know what to write and how to write it. So during an compo exam, I barely scraped past it. I got a 14 over 30, which is a fail. And honestly, I felt very, very sad because when I look at my other friends' scores, they all scored better than me. And from there, at night, I was really sad and I cried. But the second day, I told myself that I couldn't let this stop me. So from then, I kept learning from other people and getting feedbacks from my teacher. In my next compo exam, I scored a 29 over 30, which is a really big improvement, and I was really happy. Now, I feel like if you try at something, you'll feel nothing. So now I believe that when we try, nothing is impossible. All in all, I feel that we should always try to bounce back from our failures and never let something stop us from achieving our goals.
Thank you, Chloe. How are you feeling? Are you okay? You
I'm a
started to
bit
sound like you were
nervous.
nervous, right? Don't worry, you're cool, okay? Okay, Chloe, how do you think you did?
I think I did a bit not really good because I only shared one experience and I was speaking very fast because I was a bit nervous.
Hmm, sharing one experience is answering the question. We don't expect you to share more than one. It says, tell me about a time. So just one is enough. It's like writing one composition and not having multiple subplots. So just one is good enough. Okay, you said that you were slightly nervous, which is fine. Is that all? Did you do PERS from in your opinion?
I think I did the experience before I did explain.
For such questions, actually, because it is an experience question, right? So the two both E's are actually linked. They're just part of that narrative, right? So when we think about the point, it's like the start of your story, and then when you explain, you get into it. By the time we are in the middle of this experience sharing, we are going to highlight the key moments. So for you, you are answering the question. You told us what you failed at. You gave us the specific mark. You shared with us your emotions. And then you said that, well, I didn't give up on the second day. I went back to learn from other people. So I'm going to pause here. And then I thought that there's potential for you to just share with us, like, what exactly did you do to learn from other people? What exactly did you ask your teachers? Because that's exactly what we need. How did you deal with it? We know you deal with it. We know you dealt with it with a positive attitude, right? Growth mindset. But what exactly did you learn from other people? That to me was like could be expanded further, right?
So
But yeah.
I borrowed like some of my friends' compos and then I wrote down some of the notes on how they expanded their story and how they used different vocabulary. I also went to ask my teacher how I could improve, and she said that by doing like a simple compo first for a start is really good already. And afterwards, she told me to add some good phrases to make my compo more exciting.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah. So you have the details, right? So just include that. So it takes practice after today, and then you try again by just sharing this story again with all these juicy details. Okay. Uh, another
Chloe, can
thing
I ask you
before,
something?
yeah,
Oh, sorry, Mavis.
yeah.
Chloe, can
Moses,
I ask
please
you
go ahead.
something?
Yeah.
how come you didn't share those details just now?
Initially I actually wanted to include it, but as I was
Mhm.
speaking really fast, I kind of forgot to include it.
Okay, it's not that you thought you were talking for too long already, right? Is it?
No.
Okay, okay, good. So okay, so it's just so
Yes.
one thing that is why I don't like to speak fast. You know why? Because even though I've done well in school, I don't think my brain is that fast. So the cool thing is that when I speak slowly and I sound so confident, actually it gives me time for my brain to catch up with my mouth. Okay, it really, really helps. So I think like the that if you feel that you're talking fast, and by the way, in my opinion, just now when you're doing PEE, I was ready to give you full marks, honestly. I think there's something here I wanted to highlight for everybody that yes, content is really important, but delivery is the next huge thing. Okay, and because Chloe sounds so clear, so conversational at the start,
Mm,
I was ready, like the moment she just gives a little bit relevant kind of a story, I was ready to give her full marks. Where I
mm,
suddenly felt that she shifted was when I think you got nervous about how to end this thing. You're trying to figure out like, am I gonna say that? Oh, yeah, is it some life lesson about okay, we have to all bounce back from failures? Or you was trying to say
mm,
something I think quite cool, almost there about if you
mm,
I think you were trying to say that if you don't try anything, you will fail nothing. Okay, something like that.
mm,
Um, so I think at that point you got a little bit nervous, then suddenly your voice became very presentery. Okay, where
mm,
in conclusion, we hardly ever say. Imagine if I said to you, "Hi, Chloe. My name is Moses, and in conclusion, I will be your new teacher today." Like we don't tend to, and especially when you had such a nice conversational tone, suddenly it shifted at the end. So if it were me, I'll probably give about 20, 21 out of 25. Right? I think you were on point for most of it. We could have stuck the landing a bit better. But I want to let you guys know that if you give a semi-decent answer and you sound like Chloe, and Chloe, well done, by the way, that carries half the battle already, okay, compared to someone who sounds rushed or sounds very nervous speaking. So kudos, this is a fantastic example of good delivery. Okay,
Thank you,
sorry, maybe I
Moses.
interrupted. Yeah.
Yeah, no, because this reminded me of what something you mentioned reminded me of yesterday I was assessing a student and she has a tendency to speak faster, even in SBC, right? To quickly answer the question, like quickly get over the points. But when that happens, when you do that, you actually will start to miss out points or your pauses become really long because you finished what you wanted to say. Then I say, what am I supposed to say next? Especially like Moses said, as he's talking, he's thinking, but you can't really tell because you can't really tell that he is generating ideas because he's not rushing. So slow down, and I think just now, like Edgar, right? I told him to slow down as well. Yeah. So as you are speaking like that, one time there was a time when uh this happened, and then after that I realized so this pace is okay. Just recounting, no need to rush. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to the third question. Okay, so what's the difference between this and this? This is a personal. It is possible that when you are reflecting after you share experience, that you might touch a little bit on this, right? Am I right? Like, oh, now when I look back, I realize that my failure taught me important lessons, etc. So you might have, under reflection, talked about it a little bit. Now, this question, do you think failure is a good thing? Remember earlier on, let's say, just now, let's say Chloe, she spoke about academic studies, right? A particular test. If this happens in an exam and you don't want to talk about an exam anymore as your example or as your experience, you can think about other areas in your life, right? All of you have CCAs, you have hobbies, friendships. There's so many things that requires us to try, and sometimes we don't always succeed. So you can plan and think about other things and avoid repeating. Another thing is, do you think failure is a good thing? It's not just about yourself. Okay, so the next person whom we are unmuting, you can start to raise your hands. if you can, think about this as a general question. Do you think failure, like failing, for human beings to fail, is it a good thing? Why is it good for humans to fail? What can we gain? Before you talk about yourself. Okay? So who who is up next? Last speaker for today. Last speaker for today. You have to raise your hand and then we can unmute you randomly. Karnik? Karnik? Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Karnik.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Karnik.
Okay.
Okay, you are our last speaker for today. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so do you think failure is a good thing? Why or why not?
I do think failure is most of the time a good thing because we can learn from our mistakes. For most people, they would think failure is a bad thing as it will not help them for their future. And I had an experience where I failed my maths exam. I got a 45 out of 100. I thought it was a bad thing, but as I go as I gone through the mistakes, has some very careless mistakes which I could have gone through, and I should have checked before submitting the work. Uh, yeah, done. And in conclusion, I believe I we should always we should always check our work before uh we should always check what our work before we submit it to a teacher, and I believe that uh I believe that uh that we only had cow un we only had done we only wait where I'm done.
Okay, Karnik, come. Let's unpack that. Okay. What do you think you could have improved on?
I was preparing, then I forgot what to say.
Okay. Hey, normal, okay. You know what's the awesome thing? The examiner has no idea what you want to say.
Yes.
Okay. So whatever you prepared, even if it flies out of the window, then you just start asking yourself the basic question. So let's just do it live now, okay? Do you think failure is a good thing? Why or why not?
I believe it's a good thing because we can learn from our mistakes.
Okay. Okay, very good. Okay, and then you were telling your story because one time you failed your math exam. Okay.
Yes.
So tell me that story. So
Once I
why
was
does that tell you that failure is a good thing? Just share with me the story.
I once failed my math exam. I believe it's a good thing that we can learn from our mistakes, as I saw so many careless mistakes in my math exam.
Okay. So if you saw many careless mistakes, so what? Why was it a good thing that you saw so many careless mistakes?
I believe I believe we can learn from the mistake. I believe we can learn from the mistake after practicing from after if we practice we can learn from the mistake we did.
Okay, so I ask you more directly, okay? So you saw many careless mistakes in the exam. What do you learn from the experience?
Uh uh
Did you realize that so okay, look, there's many different things we can say. Maybe I say a few things and you see which one you agree with more, okay? Is it that actually that's when I realized that it was actually my carelessness that was costing me marks. So actually I know the topic, but it was carelessness, and that is actually something that I can control. So that's how you improve your math marks after.
Okay.
Was it something like that? Or is there something that you're trying to say around when I can learn from my mistakes? Like, how did you learn from your mistakes?
Hmm. We can practice the questions that we got wrong.
Okay. So may I ask you, why do you not practice beforehand?
Uh, I Wait, can you repeat the question?
So you say that after the exam you realized that you should practice, right? How come you suddenly realized that you needed to practice? Was it
I
that
did
the
not know.
exam?
I
Go
did
ahead.
not know that those type of questions would pop up in the exam.
Okay, so it
Yeah.
introduced you to things that you didn't realize you were weak at.
Yes.
Okay. So, guys, we try to make the story flow. Okay, so where I think failure is a good thing because we can learn from our mistakes. Actually, that's a very nice point. Simple and nice. Okay, and then your story actually supports it fully. For example, I once failed my math exam, but thankfully I did because I realized that the questions that I was doing badly in were not something that I had really studied before. And if I didn't run into them in this exam, then there would be gaps in my knowledge. And now, having realized that I had these weaknesses, that failure taught me where I should study more in. And the next exam, I had addressed these weaknesses, and I'm glad to share that I got a much higher score. You see, bit by bit. I mean, why it flows is because each thing answers the next question, right? Okay, I did badly. Oh, so what? Oh, that means I saw my weaknesses. Oh, then so what? After I saw my weaknesses, then I practiced them. Okay, then what happened? Right? Very naturally, we go on. So this connect is how we string together a story.
Okay.
Okay, maybe still have something to add here.
I
Uh,
think, oh, okay. After you said, most of the time, you actually started with most of the time failure is a good thing. So I was thinking, are you going to tell me, are there certain times when failure is actually a bad thing? So yeah, so I was thinking maybe, but we didn't get to that. So when you say most of the time, that means there may be times when failing is actually a terrible thing. So if you have something like that, you can share. Another thing I noticed was after you said learning from mistakes, then you mentioned most people will not think so. Most people think that failure is a bad thing because it will not help their future. So I thought that part was not so clear. So if you look at our examples here, if you have two ideas, you can think of why is failure a good thing. So we can learn from our mistakes. It makes us better people. Okay, we just become better. With every mistake we make, as long as we learn from it, we become better. So I thought the explanation part could be further elaborated, maybe with examples or cause effect reasonings. Yeah,
I have a
because
question.
I think, yeah.
If we stutter a lot, will there minus marks?
If you stutter a lot, is it? Do you mean hesitant?
Yeah.
Well, when we are hesitant, it affects the ability, the it affects the quality of the conversation because now I find the examiner or the listener might find it hard to try to understand or follow what you are saying. So
Oh,
there is no, so over here, you see there is no like stuttering minus marks, right? It's not in the rubric.
yes.
It's not in the rubric, but it involves, it could rest somewhere in the third descriptor, your ability to interact confidently. Okay? So that's why teacher Moses say, after you have tried once, connect after today, go and tell this story another like 3 times until it's super smooth.
Okay.
Then, it's like when you tell your friend what happened to you that day, we are very natural. Okay? So
Okay.
yeah. Okay?
Hanik, do you feel that you stutter?
Yes.
Do you stutter when you talk to your mom?
Not much.
Hmm. Yeah. So
Mm,
I'm telling you, all of you can do it. Why?
yes.
It's because you talk to me and teacher maybe is a lot less than you talk to your mom. Okay. So what you need to do is to just practice more. Okay. I'm very sure you can do it.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Kane, and thank you to all the students, very brave, okay, speaking in front of hundreds of people today. So we have been talking about AI, AI. Moses, will you be sharing your screen?
Yes. Okay, guys, I
Okay.
know we have a lot of people asking whether you can go to the toilet. Please feel free. I'm not the toilet police. Okay. If you guys have an accident because you don't go to the toilet, we have no liability. Okay, so please feel free to go. But I only take 15 minutes. Then
Mm,
that will be the end of the lesson. Okay.
mm.
But for those of you who have not seen what AI can do for SBC, I encourage you to stick around. I'll end at 9 o'clock. Then Teacher Mavis and I, we will hang out for another 15 minutes for any questions you have. Okay, whatever you want to ask, even about oral, even about other components, please feel free to ask. Okay. All right. So I'll share what I have here. Okay, you guys can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay. So, guys, people are asking how do we uh, go to AI? Okay, it's just ch.ai. That's really just the domain. Okay. And over here, stimulus-based conversation. Okay. So for stimulus-based conversation, let me just walk you through what it looks like. Okay. We will practice. So I told you that you will get to practice as many times as you want. So how do we do it? Okay. How we do it is that we will give you different questions to practice. Okay. So we will follow the PSLE format. We'll have a picture. Okay. And then we'll have the question. And just as we ran through, there are three levels of questions. Some are more descriptive about the image, and then ranging to those that are about your point of view about society. Okay, so we will have all the different kind of question types. And what you do is you do exactly what we did on this webinar, which is that you record yourself and you send your answer, your spoken answer, to Cher AI. Okay? When you do that, then what do we do? First, we will give you a grade, okay, out of 25. Now you can say, hey, Cher, actually, I thought oral is for three different questions, then you get a grade out of 25. How come this one for one question, then you give me a grade? It's really so that you can see how you fare for each kind of question. So some of you may realize that, hey, actually for the descriptive kind and my own opinion kind, I'm fine. But for those which are much more about society, I'm a little bit more nervous about those. I tend not to do as well. Okay, so giving you grades per question lets you see that. Okay, then what do? We give you some feedback, okay, about the three areas that we just talked about here, right? One is actually your content. Okay, and here, because this is a mind stretcher product, we will actually look at whether you use peers or not. Okay, is this the only way to answer? Absolutely not. If you give a great answer in Cher AI, we will still grade it like a good answer. Okay, but we will look at whether peers could have been used to improve the answer. Okay, so for example, this guy. Tell me about a time when you helped a friend or someone helped you. Okay, so over here, somebody answers, there was a time where a friend of mine forgot to bring his lunchbox to school and he also didn't have any money in his wallet. What I did was to lend him some money and share the food in my lunchbox with him. I still remember what it was like that day. He was quite distraught, quite upset that he had forgotten his lunchbox. And just nice, that day was also our PE lesson, so we were both extra hungry. But when I watched him ruffle through his bag and come up empty, I knew that he had made a mistake. So I went to ask him what happened. Then I realized he forgot to bring his food and didn't even have money for his recess. That day I had 6 chicken nuggets, so I gave him three and together we shared my allowance, etc., etc. Of course, I could not collect any of the chicken nuggets back from him, but I felt it was the right thing to do. And more importantly, it was what I would have wanted someone else to do to me. So that was one time where I helped somebody. Okay. So over here, we will say that, oh, actually, it's very good that you told a very detailed story. 6 chicken nuggets, ice cold Milo. Okay. How to improve? Um, See, the one of the weak points, of course, is a pretty strong story. A lot of details, a lot of very nice reflection that even though I can't get it back from him, he returned my allowance, but he couldn't return the chicken nuggets. That's a bit of humor, but uh, I think it was the right thing to do. And more importantly, that's what I want somebody to do for me if I was in that situation. Okay, so but definitely the ending where we just said this can be improved. Then for language, we point out where you did well. So if you use good language like distraught, come up empty, these are all very nice words, and we will find, I mean, this is a strong answer. That's why there's not a lot of improvement points. But if your answer is a little bit more rushed or you use simpler language, we will then suggest new words and more appropriate words you can use for this kind of situation or story. Okay. And then when it comes to delivery, we will look at whether you sound confident. So I mean, we are using AI to actually listen to how do you sound like? Do you sound a bit hesitant, or do you sound quite confident, quite eloquent? How is your pacing? Do you have a lot of fillers? Right? Fillers are things like and then and So there's a lot of people say right, right. So there's a lot of fillers that we can pick up. But we will listen to all these dimensions of confidence. Okay, then after that, you can actually click a button and say, actually, Che, can you show me what a full marks answer looks like based on the points I was sharing? Okay, so if you had a weaker answer, then here we will show you, actually, this is the point that you can make. Here's the explanation you can say, this is the experience. So this is how you could tidy up that story that you told. This is how you reflect nicely. The reflection, I always like to incorporate something that I learned from this experience. Okay, and then that summary. Okay, so this is definitely a cleaner answer than what we saw above. We will tell you exactly what we changed, so you don't need to guess. Okay, we will tell you what we instead of ruffle through his bag. Actually, the correct word is rummage. Okay, rummage through his bag. And this story is already strong. Okay, but I also know that again, for many of you, you just need more content. Actually, for this story, what else could I have said? Okay, so what are some other points I could have talked about? Instead of just you helping somebody else, you could talk about how someone helped me. So we have another point, another set of points. This is about, I think, track and field. We can tell a story about studies, and all of this, what all are we trying to do? We're not asking you to go and just memorize these model answers, okay? Actually, this is meant to help you think about your own experiences. Like, have you actually had something similar happen to you during your PE lesson, right? Where I guess you tripped over your shoelaces and fell hard, right? Or when you were playing catching in school. I know this used to happen to me all the time. I would slip and then I would scrape my knee. And then how does my friend help me? Helping with studies, another story. Okay, so this is exactly the kind of feedback that teacher Mavis and I try to give to you guys here live, right? When we hear your response, we will try to give you feedback where you can improve. But the important thing is that, okay, now with all this feedback, how do we put it together into a nice answer that will actually get us full marks in the exam? And what I ask all of you to do is to take this improved answer, make it your own. Okay, so you can take it, you can write it out, you can delete certain things. If you don't eat chicken nuggets, if you like to bring broccoli and carrots to school, all the best. Okay, strike this out, replace it with something that makes it yours. You don't like Milo, you like pink dolphin, go ahead. Okay, but try to use the structure of the answer and then say it, right? Get used to what a nice answer feels like when it flows. And try a few times. Okay, and if you don't like this story, if after a while you found that actually this story I don't really have much to say, even with all these prompts, actually, I really have never brought a lunchbox to school. Then feel free to take a look at other points that you can say, but the important thing is to try a few times. Okay, for those of you who want uh to uh see a video of me going through exactly how to practice, when you log into AI, you will come to this page. Okay, when you click on stimulus-based conversation, I have a full YouTube video here where you can see exactly how to use AI. Okay, like teacher Mavis said, we have actually already tried to identify some of the common themes. Okay, in previous years, actually quite common that the themes that you practice here will come out in PSLE. Okay, why? It's not because we can guess the PSLE question, it's just that there are certain themes which are very more relatable to all the students. So those things tend to come out sometimes. Okay, so have a look through and practice. Okay, so each of these, there are 20 exercises here. Each of them have 3 questions of the different levels. So all in all, you can practice at least 60 questions here. And if you practice them a few times, you can get better at them. Now, I saw a few questions in the chat. Oh, what if some of the themes that I want to practice uh, are not in Che AI? No worries. Actually, you can create your own SBC exercise. Okay, and for me, this is very important. For me, right, confidence is everything. If I know I'm going to the exam and I know that, shucks, I can definitely talk about my family. I can definitely talk about chores at home. I can definitely talk about global warming. But if they ask me about uh, if they ask me about failure, then I'm not so sure what to say. Okay, actually, you can create your own exercise to practice, and uh, the Che I will mark according to all the PSLE rubrics. Okay, so I encourage you guys to actually go and practice. It's actually, I think, quite a complete loop. You will get feedback on your answer, just like what we delivered, but we also organize it into something that you can then practice again. Take that model answer, make it yours, practice again until you feel okay. If this question comes up, actually, I can speak well already. Many people will say, okay, actually, are you over practicing? I actually don't think so. Everything that I can do today on the spot came because I've practiced umpteen times. Umpteen times. People say that if you practice, you don't sound natural. My reply to that is you need to practice until you sound natural. Okay, when you come out the other side, you are totally transformed as a communicator. Okay, and what we can do, we can put these tools in your hands, but you have to practice. And it's quite cool. When I look at the people who are practicing, I do see a lot of improvement. Okay, so over the next like 3 days, I'll be launching this a little challenge for everybody. We will be just let me see if I can pull it up. Too many things here. Let's see. Okay, so I'll be launching this page soon. Okay, you guys won't see it there yet. But just to make it a little bit more fun for all of you, there's this last lap to PSLE Oral challenge in Che AI. Okay, what we will do is really just to make it a little bit more fun to practice. Honestly, practicing, you guys will gain a lot of things for yourself. But we thought, what can we do to make it a bit more fun? So we will be watching everybody's SBC attempts for the 20 exercises that we already put there. Okay, we will total up the highest score that you get on any exercise. So if you practice and you get a higher score, we will count your highest score. Okay, we won't just count your first. We will look at the highest attempt that you made. We will then sum up all your highest scores across all the exercises, and the people who get the highest score, the top 10, later on, we'll call you guys and pass you guys the Universal Studios ticket. Okay, whether you want to go before PSLE, during PSLE, after PSLE, up to you. Okay, please go and have a great time. But this is just to make it fun. Okay, if you guys don't want to do this challenge, no problem at all. Okay, but if you're already practicing, I thought why not? I would love to try to win a little ticket. Okay. Uh, okay, so separately, I think there were a few questions about, how do I redeem my Mind Stretcher Che AI code? It's very simple, guys. Just go to Che AI support. Okay, Che AI support. I have all the guides here. If you want to get access to your Mind Stretcher research preview, click this guide. If you really, really don't know anything, then just WhatsApp me. I'm manning this during this PSLE period to reply to you guys as quickly as I can. All right, so just click here, ask me questions, but please, please, please read the guides first, because otherwise I'll just send the guide to you. Okay. What else? People are asking me, hey, is this going to be free forever? I don't know. Okay. I'm right now because we really want to help, and we're just developing this, so we're making it free for PSLE 2026. For those of you who are taking PSLE 2027, we might charge a little bit next year to help to cover some of the costs. We are using really the best AI so that we can all improve very quickly. And right now we're footing those bills lah. If you want to pay for a little bit of Universal Studio ticket rewards and things like that, we might need to charge a bit, but we will review that after PSLE 2026. So don't need to worry at all. For year-end exams, this will be covered. Okay, and if we do make any adjustments, we will announce it sometime closer to December. All right. People are asking me what subjects are coming. For this next 1 month, we'll be focusing on English. So a lot of the things that we have done in our boot camps, we're going to bring it to AI to practice. So grammar will be coming out soon. I envision that subsequently we may even go into marking your comprehension for you. So if you have no way to, you want to know, hey, actually this one can or not. It's not exactly the answer key, but can or not. We will mark and tell you our point of view, okay, and how you can improve your answer. So we'll finish English, I think, sometime this year. Next year, by PSLE 2027, I expect us to also cover Chinese. And then after that, we'll look at math and science. Okay? For secondary school, I fully intend to get there, but it'll probably not be in the next year. Okay, let's see. Let me see what other questions there were. Okay. Let me pause there. I know a few of you need to go already. Feel free to ask any questions about what I've shared. AI really is a huge unlock. A lot of people who are practicing with it are progressing quite rapidly because all of you actually have it in your head. You just need a few prompts, a few pieces of great feedback. Everything will come out. Okay, so don't be nervous. Just go and practice. And if you win the challenge, that's great. I cannot find the challenge because I haven't launched it. Okay. We will launch it by this end of the weekend. Can people in
Roy,
secondary
is
and
there,
JC use AI too? Yes, actually. So
mm,
for oral practice, I think this is actually, of course, the format is a little bit different. But if you want to get to try those kind of questions, you want to upload your own, I mean, a video and a picture. A video is just a series of pictures. Okay, so the critical thing is, can we practice responding to some stimuli? So for secondary school students, if you want to get an account, it's only free for primary 5 and primary 6 master's graduate students currently. But if you want to get an account, I think it's a crazy good value. $25 to practice all of this stuff. Many of these in the past, you will need a one-on-one tutor to give you oral feedback or to mark your compo. So now this is in the hands of everybody to practice. Okay, so I encourage you to sign up, try it out. It should be very relevant for secondary school too for oral. Yes, guys, if you want to step up, please feel free to go ahead. Okay.
yeah.
But Mavis and I will hang around. Okay. Thanks everybody.
Thank you. For those of you who have your prelims coming up, all the best to you. We'll see you very soon, okay? Back online. Join us for last lap as well.
Yep, last lap in September, we have a lot of things cooking
Mm,
to help.
yes, yes.
Of course, at that time, it will be just 1.5 weeks before your PSLE. So we'll just cover some of the little reminders that that are
Yeah.
important to emphasize right before the exam, but don't sweat it. Okay. By the time everything you need to know is already in your head, give it your best shot.
Thank you. Yes, you may leave if you have to. We'll just hang out here for a while, okay? Just in case you have any questions. Bye. All the best.
How many USS tickets? There'll be 10 USS tickets. Okay, but
They're very
try to be
excited
as
about this.
possible.
Yeah. My students in class have been asking, what are they going to do with the XP points? That's what they've been asking.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Audrey was saying try Compo Coach and it's awesome. Yes, indeed.
Mm,
I mean, we did a Compo workshop a few months back, but Compo Coach is also a fantastic product. Like if you guys want to get your Compo at least 5 to 7 marks higher, it's nowadays I can't even say 6 to 7 marks. It has to be 5 to 7 because I know all of you guys will start doing this at home. Okay, so if you want to increase your marks by 5 to 7 within the next 4 weeks or so, I'm quite sure Compo Coach can help you get there. Same thing, take the feedback in, practice the same compo, learn the techniques. Will we get for our family also, or just sorry, it's just for the students? Unless a parent tries to do Che AI and goes to sit for the PSLE, Does Trey I have grammar? It doesn't have it yet, but within the next month, definitely before definitely 1 month, definitely before, um, it'll definitely be out by mid-August. Henrik, if during oral, if I don't have any true experiences to talk about, can I fake and lie? I don't think it's lying, Henrik. If you have an experience that you could share that is relevant, I think that's fine. If you have to sort of pad it with some details to just make it interesting, I think it's also okay. Okay, don't worry about it. Importantly though, is that it has to make sense. Okay, if you fill it with a lot of irrelevant details, then whether it's fake or true, it doesn't matter. It will just not make sense in the answer. Okay, so when you look at Che AI model answers and when you practice, it gives you feedback. It will tell you whether your story is too skimpy and how we can flesh it out more. Will the examiner penalize you if you say I don't think there's a hard and fast rule. If you say a couple of it, I think it's fine. If it makes it seem that you just really didn't know what to say, then I think it will affect the impression that you give the examiners. Okay, so even for me, sometimes I pause, I say, and then I go on. Okay, as long as you come across as confident, you know what you're trying to say, some of these are natural fillers. Don't worry about it. But don't make it a habit, Willen. Okay? Shall I add my personal experience to my response for the first question? Uh, so Leah, this is a great question. Okay, and at MindStretcher, our approach is yes. Why? If you don't, that first question you will find your answer to be basically 2 sentences. Right? If they ask you how is he feeling, I think he's disappointed. He's looking at the test paper. I can see he looks a bit disgruntled. That's all you can say. Right? That second E, experience, is really how we make that answer personal. Okay, and it can be related. Why? It's related, right? We're not sharing an irrelevant story. You can infer that he's disappointed because when something similar happened to you, you were also disappointed. That is why it's a relevant story. Okay, it's not about making it about yourself. It's explaining to them why you're making this inference. Because actually, I went through something and I was also very disappointed. Is Chinese oral available? It won't be available for this year, but it'll be available for next year. Can you show how we can practice our own SCB questions? You guys can just click through in the U in Che AI. It should be quite self-explanatory. So Che can replace physical class and save my traveling time? No. I think I mean, many times in class, what we try to do is to focus on covering more in depth and giving you a small class where we can discuss some of the answers, right? When we do it for over here, for example, for 380 students at the same time, all we can do is to give 6 students who are lucky enough to pop out on Zoom to practice, and then we have Che to practice at home. Okay, but if you wanted to ask a lot of questions and want to discuss, then I think the small classes also help. And over the next 2 months, you'll be getting quite a lot of notes, a lot of model answers for SBC, things like that in class we'll be going through. So we don't intend for this to replace the physical classes anytime soon, but certainly it will help you practice outside of class. Okay, let's see. Okay, Janelle is asking a good question here. So this is something I wanted to share just now. When you have actually 2 points of view, how should you say it? I used to be a debater, so we have a rule when we answer these kind of questions. To make it easier for yourself, I would just answer with one point of view first. Okay, and where do you bring in the fact that you actually know the other side? You bring it in the reflect part.
Reflection, yes.
But you don't make it very hard for yourself by answering 2 things at the same time at the start. Then you don't know which one you're answering, right? You say, oh, it depends. So sometimes when I think people do chores, but also I think people don't really do chores. Then actually, what are you saying? Yes or no? What is your answer? Right? Actually, your answer is probably I think they don't do enough chores. Okay? And then you explain why. Then in the reflection, having said that, I know some children who do a ton of chores at home. And kudos to them. Right? They have earned the trust of their parents. They actually set aside their personal devices and put in the work to contribute to the household. And those are children that I think we can learn a lot from. Okay, so if you ask me, because I notice this sometimes where you guys actually have both points of view, you know there's valid points, that's good. Don't let it confuse your answer. Just give one answer first, then you acknowledge the other point of view in the R. Okay? I'm sharing this to all of you guys. It's not that this is the only way to answer. Okay, but it's one way to just simplify it so that at the exam time, when you have these thoughts, you know what system to follow. Does my personal experience have to be very specific or can it be general? So RD, actually, the rule of thumb here is actually what kind of story do you like to listen to? Right? In Harry Potter, if I were to tell you that, okay, when I say Harry Potter, he grew up on Privet Drive, and then he went to this school, and then there's this crazy game called Quidditch, and then he found this, and he got this wand, 9.5 inches, and then all these beautiful details about Hogwarts Castle and all that kind of stuff. Compared to if I told you the story, yeah, there was this boy, then there was this evil wizard, right? Then one day they fought, and the little boy won. Which is a better story? Okay, if you look at J.K. Rowling's many billions of dollars, then of course the detailed story is more interesting. So for personal experience, if you're going to share it, let's make the story interesting with some details. Okay, you don't have to tell a very, very long story, but it's better to be a little bit specific, introduce some parts of the specific details so that it sounds more colorful, more interesting to listen to, compared to something that's very general, like, oh, yes, I eat with my grandparents every day. What do you eat? Where? I go over to their house to eat things that they cook, and I really, really love their bak chor mee. Okay. So good question, good answer from Mavis to Maggie. If you don't understand the question at all, just ask. Hey, better to ask than to answer the wrong question. Daniel, if there's a tie and Shui Ai, is it ranked by whoever is earlier? I don't expect that to be a tie, because there's 60 questions and it's out of 25, and this has been graded. It's not super easy to get full marks all the time. Okay, so give it a try first. When it comes to it, yeah, we will do. I think we have the discretion to tie break based on whether you've done more, whether this was achieved earlier or later. Okay, but let's see over the next few days. If really it looks like everybody is tying, we will make it clear uh, how we tie break. Okay. What does in a nutshell mean, Julius? In a nutshell means in summary. Okay. Yeah, in a nutshell, which is that to say it shortly. Okay, so after we tell a whole story, in a nutshell, that is how I helped my friend. Okay.
Jana, you're unable to find the code. Is it the redemption code? I think that was her question.
Gianna,
I think
Gianna,
earlier
okay.
on she said she cannot
Please
find.
excuse me. And Jenna, you mind retyping your answer? Your question? As you can see, we are answering. Okay, does that mean I do not have access to Chui AI? Are you a P5 or P6 MindStretcher student? P6, yes, you do. You do have access. Okay, so Roy has already given you. I cannot find it in the app. Okay, can you WhatsApp us? Are you still a MindStretcher student now? Okay. Then Jenna, we will follow up with you after this, okay?
Hmm.
Thank you. Thank you for WhatsApping us. You're very welcome. Okay, folks, I see the questions slowing down. We'll be around for another minute or so. Any questions, please feel free to share, okay?
Yes, if you're not a Mind Stretcher student, yes, you can sign up. You can create an account. No problem. Q&A. will you get marked down if you take very long to actually just now a student asked how long is long if I pause? You know, natural conversations, let's say if I ask you, Ashley, what do you have for lunch? How long would it take for you to? So the pause shouldn't be unnaturally long. It's like, well, I had this for lunch. So I think that's a normal pause, okay? So will you get marked down if you take very long to answer? If you take very long to answer every single prompt, then if you look at the rubric, it'll be like requires a lot of encouragement by the examiner, right, to prompt you. So that would then place you at a lower band for that descriptor. So that's why teacher Moses and I have been telling you, right, keep practicing until you're very familiar with your own experiences, sharing your own experiences, and being able to reply promptly, okay, or to respond to a question promptly. Practice, practice. Yes, JAI is free for P5 and 6 mind stretcher students for
Yeah,
now.
who have an active enrollment. So,
Mm-mm-mm.
Diana, if you're still around, actually we looked through already. You had signed up for the June Power Up program. You currently aren't a Mind Stretcher student right now. So that's why you would have access during June, but if you didn't redeem it at that time, that was when you had your free access. Right now it will be $25 a month. Okay, but if you are a Mind Stretcher student, and I always encourage you guys to sign up, we are doing our last lab practices very soon. Then anyone with an active enrollment, that's who has free access. Okay, but we have always priced it to be very affordable, okay? So $25 for unlimited compo oral practice is not easy to find. And like we mentioned here, it is really based on what we have learned as educating many students. Okay, so it's not just talking to AI. We have the formal PSLE rubrics. We have calibrated them. So these are close to what you'll get in PSLE. Can we play Blue Cat to test our knowledge on oral skills? Sorry, I don't, Kingsley, we're not so
Yeah.
familiar with this.
Yeah, what do you mean? Test knowledge on oral skills. That's that phrase itself. You don't test, you need to practice oral skills. So what is test knowledge? Okay. Practice. Uh, where is this booklet? Is it something that your school put
Anyway,
up on
Kingsley,
SLS? Yeah.
Kingsley, as in, I mean, it has some free educational games inside.
Mm-mm.
You can feel free to use it if you want
Yeah.
to practice. If you find it useful, go
Mm,
ahead. For us, we built
I
AI
see.
because we know what we want to focus on, which is the content building and then practicing our delivery. So for that kind of practice, we highly suggest using AI. What if the tester asks for more info about the made-up experience? Henrik, like when we tell stories, we got to be ready to give more details, lah. Okay, so for me, actually, I encourage you just think through your own experiences. Okay, worst case, of course, we need to be comfortable if we really want to tell a story that we haven't really gone through. But I'm quite sure for most of the questions that PSLE asks you, they are set so that the majority of the 36,000 students have something relevant to say. Okay, so I'm very sure there's something relevant in your life. Okay, my answer to you really is that yes, sometimes if you need to pad, if you feel comfortable to do so, go ahead. But I'm very sure there are real things that have happened in your life, and I want to encourage you to practice sharing those stories.
Mm.
Okay, Kingsley, for any account related things, you need to WhatsApp me. I don't think Teacher Mavis can help you here, okay? We've shared the support number. We'll take those offline. Okay, Mavis, I think
Yeah.
we're about there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We
Thank
have
you.
60 people more here. Okay, guys, we're gonna log off soon. Um, thanks so much for keeping us company here. Hopefully you found that useful. Okay, if anything, always feel free to reach out.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Good night to you, and thank you, Roy and Hannah, for supporting us tonight. Okay, thank you, Moses.
Yep.
Goodbye,
Thanks,
everybody. We'll
Mavis.
see you
Take care.
very soon, okay? Take care. Bye bye.